Doug Christensen, doctoral graduate of the college in 1978, serves as Commissioner of Education for the state of Nebraska. In that role, he's provided exceptional leadership for the schools of the state. His emphasis on models of continuous improvement and on high-performance learning and high standards has provided important forward momentum for Nebraska schools. He's certainly one of the outstanding state educational leaders in the country, and we're very proud of him as a graduate of our college. Doug will comment on the relationship of the college to the state. Doug?
Jim, thank you very much. Especially pleased to be invited to be part of this celebration activity and to be part of the program. And secondly, it is indeed an honor to be included in this very distinguished group of notables. Before I make my comments, I'd have to comment on a couple of things. A public announcement that I probably will not be living very long. And you need to know that. I'm not sure what I'm going to die of, but I have spent 35 years in this state. And I've made two comments consistently. I'll never live long enough to see UNL talk about K-12 education, and I'll never live long enough to see the Regents talk about teacher education, and both of those have happened in the last 6 months. So I'll probably not be living long. And Chancellor Measer and President Smith and Vice Chancellor Edwards, I can't tell you how heartwarming that is to see you talk about something that is so vitally important to both of us. And we need higher education as partners, and we think you need us as well, and that is really a heartwarming thing, and that partnership has been good so far. Secondly, as Ruth was up here, you know I work for an elected state board of education, and our board meetings are interesting, and I just trying to imagine what it would be like to have Ruth on that board. And, if a scholarship would get you back in the state, Ruth, I would like to have you move back here and run for our board. It would just be interesting to have someone wear a hat like that and tell people things they need to hear. Anyway, Let me begin my remarks on a personal note. This is a special day, not only the celebration of Teachers College, but Valentine's Day, and I'd like to recognize my wife, Cheryl, sitting here in the front row. She is also an alumnus of Teachers College, getting her master's degree in special education, and her degree here has enhanced our relationship considerably. I have this degenerating condition of attention deficit disorder and behavioral impairment, and my current IEP and medication seems to be working well, and I appreciate that. And Cheryl, in front of all these people, this special day, I love you very much and appreciate you being part of my life. As you heard the other notables, those of you who had the chance to be here last night to hear the other notables share their personal experiences, essentially I think you heard three things which would be very similar and resonate with my personal experience, in that Teachers College, above all the things that it is three things. It is teachers, mentors, and critical friends. Teachers who taught us the things that they knew, and teachers who led us to learn things outside of that classroom and to guide us where we needed to go. Mentors who guided our experiences, who were role models, who coached us, and critical friends who cared enough to sometimes shake us out of our conventions and our traditional ways of thinking. And I think Ruth Randall described it very well, that when you have teachers and mentors and critical friends, you come out with some sense of a gestalt or wholeness about knowing what it is that you know, and probably even more important, knowing what you don't know and what you yet need to learn. And I know it'll embarrass him terribly, but and I could mention many in terms of importance in my own life, but someone who I think needs to be recognized in the sense of teacher and mentor and critical friend, and also because he is the current leader of this institution, Teachers College, and would not recognize himself, and that's Jim O'Hanlon. So in the context of teacher, mentor, and critical friend, for many of us and all of us in some way or another will hold those individuals in our hearts. there are, I think, two major contributions that Teacher College makes on a statewide basis. That's this legacy that's there, and also such an important part of the future as to where we want to go and be. First of all is this cadre of leaders that are out there everywhere. The individuals that staff our classrooms, our administrative offices, our district offices, even our boards of education offices, post-secondary education as well, community colleges, private post-secondary schools, our colleges and universities, and even those who couldn't handle the rigors of education and went into private business. That was supposed to be funny, and I can tell some of you didn't think so, but I'm going to go on anyway. Those people are the essence of what this state's all about, and many times we think about Nebraska. Lots of people like to consider us backward. I go to meetings and every state talks about local control, and they don't even have a clue as to what industrial strength local control is all about. And the reason it works in Nebraska, and the reason we have such good schools and universities and higher education institutions in this state, is because of this cadre of people who come to the university as good people in the first place and simply just get better as a result of the experiences of teachers and mentors and critical friends. And I think the university needs to continue to remember that that's a very important role that it plays, is to make sure that the leadership from small to large, from rural to urban, from K-12 to higher education and beyond is a responsibility not to take lightly. Secondly, an important contribution this university has made, and I think even more important as we go down the road, that needs to be revived and redirected, is the policy level leadership that it can provide for individuals in our higher education institutions and Teachers College in particular, who can take this ability to step back a moment from the fray of things and from the emotion and the politics that may be swirling around the decision-making process, either in our boardrooms or in the legislature, to step back and look at things like finance and curriculum and classroom instructional procedures and leadership strategy and all those, to help us understand what are those best practices that are out there and those promising practices that we could begin to employ. And I hope those are two things that in this legacy of Teachers College we will take forward into the future and even renew them. Let me conclude with one other personal observation. I know in the things that I do on a daily basis that I can count on the experience that I had at Teachers College, and particularly from those teachers, mentors, and friends. And it's not necessarily that I know all that I need to know, but I can't tell you how many times I count on those things that I learned and those things that I experienced to lead me to begin to figure out what may be possibly the right thing to do. Were it not for Teachers College, I would probably be plagued forever, and many of you have watched us develop these things called learning standards in our state with the notion that phonics might have been an F word. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.